talk about water demand management, we now have Engineer Jaseni Maidinsa. Engineer Jaseni was appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of PBA Holdings Berhad and General Manager of Perbadanan Bekalan Air Pulau Pinang on 1st April 2007. He holds a Diploma in Civil Engineering from University Technology, Malaysia, a Bachelor of Science with Honours Civil Engineering from University of Glasgow, an MBA from University Science Malaysia, and he is a registered professional engineer with the Board of Engineers Malaysia and a member of the Malaysia Water Association. Jaseni has served PBA Penang and previously PBA for a total of 29 years and is an expert in water supply management and practices. I'm glad to invite Engineer Jaseni.
I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to give a talk today. Yeah, we have heard two speakers talking about climate change. So basically my talk is basically, we know about the change. So what are we doing about it? In the perspective of sustainable water supply management. So we know our constraints, we know about the weather, we know about the rainfall. So what do we need to do to ensure Penang have water supply until the year 2050? Next. Next. So I start with this nice picture, no water, no life. So it sounds like a Bob Marley song. Yeah? Some of you like reggae, no water, no life. So basically, everything on this planet relies on water. And because of the climate change, I nowadays would like to recommend governments, state governments, nations, to classify water as a strategic commodity. Now, what is a strategic commodity? A strategic commodity is something you must have at any cost. I'll give you an example. If you are in the middle of a desert and I have a tank of water, how much do you think is the value of that water? It is infinite. So, governments must decide and prioritize, because without water, there is no development of any form, be it economic, social, or anything. You cannot generate income without water. And Singapore state is fully aware about that. And that is where they classify water as a strategic commodity. So our population also must realize that. Next. So I just brief you on the existing systems. We are an island state with a chunk of land on the mainland. You can see the land on the mainland is a straight line drawn by somebody, not following a river or a mountain. It's just a straight line from the Muda River in the north to the Krian River in the south. Now, there's a rumor the depth of the mainland is actually calculated so that the British Army barracks in Butterworth cannot be bombed by the best cannon inside. That's why mainland is like that. Yeah? Okay? Now, here I want to explain the strategic river of Sungai Muda. Yeah? We extract water from our side of the border. And this Sungai Dua Canal supplies raw water to our biggest treatment plant, which is now producing about 1 billion liters per day. Okay? 1 billion, yeah? So, and that supplies around 84% of Penang State. So it's strategic, yeah? Then, now, all the catchment areas have been gazetted, but only recently, okay? And they only supply 13% of water. So you imagine the water from Muda River is strategic, 84%, yeah? Then, since on the island, not enough water, we have 2 twin submarine pipelines bringing water to the island, okay? To ensure the whole island have enough water supply, although there are increases in tourism, increases in manufacturing, increases in development in Balik Pulau. Nowadays, if you go to Balik Pulau, don't be surprised to see rows of Porsches and Ferrari driving around in Balik Pulau. Yeah, it's not like the old Balik Pulau, you know. And the houses there are around 1 million these days. So that's development. So the water company knows about that, and we plan about it for it. Next. So we supply 100% in the urban areas, 99.7% in the rural areas, because the 0.3%, they do not want our water. Because some of them live on the hills, they prefer to use mineral water coming out from the springs, which do not have chlorine. Okay? So, but the price of our water is very cheap. Yeah? If you Google, it is the lowest, cheapest water in the free world. Take out Saudi Arabia, take out Brunei, take out all those United Arab Emirates where they give free water, yeah? Because they got a lot of oil. So in a freely democratic world, Penang water is the cheapest in the world. Right? Then we make a decent profit. So with this performance data, we have to make sure Penang State have enough water no matter what the weather. I'm sure you read the news, yeah? The Chief Minister says, if there's rationing in Penang, heads will roll. Whose head? My head lah. Okay? But of course, before my head goes, my lower people also will have to be chopped, yeah? Okay, next. So we love working in this type of atmosphere. It's very challenging. Now, so NRW, I think some of you are familiar with it, some of you are not familiar with it. Non-revenue water. That means I produce the water, but it didn't reach your house. Along the way, it's lost somewhere due to pipe leaking, due to inaccurate metering, due to theft, and all that. Now, the national average is 36.6. The champion is Perlis, 62.4. And Penang last year was 18.2%. Okay? Although the lowest, but we can still go lower. But dependent on the price of water I sell. So we have to balance that. Just for your information, Tokyo, my friend from Tokyo is here, Mr. Hajime. Tokyo is 3%. They are among the best in the world, yeah? So, and we are trying to slowly bring it down if we are able to revise our water tariff. Next. Ini angkat bakul lah sikit so that what I tell you is okay lah. We were voted the best water company last year because we practice sustainable water supply management. So today I want to talk to you about water demand management. Basically, you know, we are in the business of selling water. But today I want to tell you, please do not use too much water. So some people, they get a migraine. How can you are in the business of selling water and now you tell me not to use too much water? I tell them, because I want to be in this business forever. I want this business to be sustainable and so that our water supply can last forever. That's why I'm advising the people of Penang to use less water. Yeah? Afterwards, I'll show you how much Penang people use. Next. So, it is a state government policy arising from the dry months early this year where you read even Taiping. Are you all familiar with the town of Taiping in Perak? Hands up those who do not know what is Taiping. Tahu, So you know Taiping. Taiping is, we all know, the wettest town in Malaysia, in West Malaysia. But recently, Taiping had to have water rationing. That, in a nutshell, explains to you the impact of climate change. If Taiping, the wettest town in West Malaysia, do not have water, that means it's really, really serious, right? Correct? That's the impact of the weather, yeah? Okay. Therefore, the Chief Minister said, Penang must do everything at all costs so that there is no rationing. And so far, we have been managing to do that. Next. Here, I want to show you the rise in customers, water account holders in Penang. Over the last 12 years, it has risen by 46%. So I always tell my friends, those who lost their job in the last economic downturn in 97, 98, in 2008, 2007, you know, they got degrees and all that, but they lost a job because economic downturn. Some of them sell hot dogs by the roadside. Some of them sell insurance. Yeah? Some of them sell all sorts of things. I told them, if you want to survive in this world, do something in the water industry. This is the only industry who will always have a positive graph. Even if there's an economic downturn, you will still have a 2 to 3% growth rate. Why? Because we always have babies. Yeah? People give birth, the population will increase. So when the population increases, we have to supply water. So therefore, this is the only business who will always have a positive growth. Next. Now, this is the water demand, million liters per day. So, with the population increasing at 46%, the demand has increased by 37%. So last year, it was 808 million liters per day. Next. Now, the future. We predict and we calculated the demand will reach 1884. That means there is an increase of 133% up to the year 2050. So we have to look for the water. One way is to look for the water. Another way, underwater supply demand management, is tell people to use less water. If other people can use less water and survive, why can't Penang people? Do you know that Penang people take 5 baths a day? This is a joke lah. They use so much water. Yeah? Next. So, I told you our water is very cheap. We subsidize all these people. Yeah? And when we subsidize, the price is so low, they don't feel it. They don't feel the pinch. Okay? And they use water over the limit. Yeah? And this is very sad because this is subsidized water and is being overused. Next. So this one, we compare our water rates within Malaysia. So we are at 31. The most expensive is Johor. The national average is at 66 cents. This is in Malaysia. Next. This is in the neighboring area. Mr. Hajime, is the price of Tokyo water correct? Correct, yeah? Okay. So, of course, our neighbor, Singapore, they saw the value of water long time ago, yeah? And that's what is the value of water in Singapore. To make sure Singapore has enough water for their national needs in the long run. But look at Penang. Yeah? I always make a joke. The cost of water in Penang for a small family, by the way, our price is so low, it is not economical to bill you monthly, you know. So we bill you bi-monthly, 2 months once. And the cost of water for a small family is less than the price of coffee in Starbucks. You imagine? What's the price of coffee in Starbucks? Between 12 to 14 ringgit. Our water for 2 months is less than that. You imagine. Next. I want to show you the relationship with the price of water and consumption, you see. Because a lot of people don't believe it. But we have facts, yeah, solid facts. And this is how much Penang people use. 295. That's why, you know, that's the joke lah, you know. And our neighbor, Singapore, 151. And in fact, United Nations actually recommend 100. Yeah? The national average is 210. But for Sabah and Kelantan and some of these, the comparison, you have to bear in mind that the coverage is not 100%. So it's not very accurate to compare. But we compare with the more industrialized states. So we are still the highest. Okay? Next. This year lagi record because the weather is very hot. We went above 300. Yeah? In 2014. So instead of using less, we are using more. Okay. The thing is, when you use more, the urgency to build more infrastructure costing billions of ringgits becomes more urgent. If you use less, you can delay the implementation of costly water supply projects. Yeah? Next. Now, population also increased by 32% in 12 years. So you remember, my customers increased by 46%, water increased by 30-something%, population increased by 32%. That's why the water supply business is always positive, never negative one. Yeah? Next. Okay, so the water companies saw that the way we are going, we won't have enough water by 2020 because the Sungai Muda would have exhausted, we would have exhausted everything that Sungai Muda can offer. You must remember, Kedah is also developing, yeah? And so when you cannot take any more from Sungai Muda, you have to find another source. So we have identified another source, and maybe some of you would have read in the papers, yeah? We have identified Sungai Perak, our southern neighbor, okay? So it involves raw water infrastructure, treated water infrastructure. Now the problem is, I briefed the Menteri Besar, the former Menteri Besar of Perak, if you all remember. He said, okay, by the time I went back to Penang, next week I woke up, they got a new Menteri Besar. That's life in Malaysia. But we have to deal with it. So I went to see the new Menteri Besar. Now the problem, they are changing their mind. We say we want to buy raw water. Now they say they want to sell treated water. So the Chief Minister asked for the minister's help to be the mediator. And that's where the situation is. Okay? But I want to tell Penang people, the water company has identified the future source. We have also identified when it should start. Actually, the project should start last year. So in our jargon, is T-1 already. That means we utang 1 year already now. The project should start last year and it should finish in 2020. To time in with the demand cannot be met by Sungai Muda. Now, if we continue to delay, then we will go into the Selangor environment. What is the Selangor environment? Maknanya, you reach a stage where you don't have enough water. We don't want that, okay? So, we have to pursue this. Now, the problem also here, the minister knows that Penang people use too much water. So he told our chief minister, hello, can you tell Penang people to use less water? Then you don't need this water from Perak. It's not so easy to change people's behavior. Singapore have done it, but it took a long time. Even London did it. London took 140 years. So we have to start somewhere. So I agree with the minister. If Penang people use as much water like Singapore, we don't need the Sungai Perak. But we know behavior is difficult to change. You're so used to wash your car in the morning and the evening. If somebody asks you, hey, don't do that, you know what his answer? Hey, don't be busybody lah. I pay my water bill lah. What's your problem? Correct? So we want to change this attitude. It will take time. Next. So I pose this question to the Penang people, to Penang government. We must have the political will to make sure that we have enough water. So under demand management, there are a few things we can do. Next. I take my neighbor, Jose, very good example, Singapore. Or I also can take Tokyo, but Singapore is nearer. The relationship between price and consumption. So, you see, we are using double Singapore, but you see the price? Do you all agree or not? If the water you pay is the correct price, you will start thinking about using less. Research has found out that Malaysians won't feel anything if the bill is not more than $100. Why? Their mobile phone bill, their internet bills, their Astro bills, all above 100 one. That one they jaga. But my water bill, alamak, so cheap. Sometimes they also forgot where the bill is. Yeah? Then they complain about the TMB bill. A few $100, they jaga lah. Petrol bill, they jaga. But my water bill, they don't jaga one. So, this is proof. When the price is wrong, wrong means this is not the correct price. Because it costs PBA more than that to produce that water. Okay? And that's why Singapore values their water very well. So they educate their people to value the water, save water. In fact, the whole of Singapore is a water catchment. Okay? Yeah? Then we got one source and local catchment. But Singapore, they have completed the whole tap. Every drop of rain they collect. Water is recycled. Seawater is desalinated. So this price of water is to achieve this. To guarantee their citizens the security, the water security. Next. So, on the demand management, what we need to do, we need to continue to educate. But when we educate, I have given up on older people. They say, sorry, you cannot change older people. Itu bamboo, tak boleh bengkok lagi tau. So, we go after the primary school students up to Form 3. We try to change their lifestyle. So research also have shown that is the best way. The older people, you have to introduce very stiff penalties. Yeah? Okay? Tak adalah sampai firing squad, terserah. Okay? So, we train and we give a period of 30 years. Because we want the child from beginning until they are 30 years old, then only we can see the results. Yeah? Okay? Now, this 31%, 31 cent need to be reviewed slowly. You cannot review too drastic. But in Singapore, they did it because they had the will. The government had the will, the people had the will. Because if they didn't do it, the second agreement with Johor finished, then Singapore also finished lah. Betul tak? So they have to do it. But we Penang, maybe if Kedah say, stop the Sungai Muda River, then maybe we have to do lah. Correct or not? So we have to do it slowly. And in the meantime, before we get the full cost of water, we introduce the water conservation surcharge. That means if you use above a certain limit, you have to pay a bit more. Tapi ada consideration juga. If you have a big family, 8 or more, we give you a 60% discount. So you see, we are very flexible. Next. So basically, to manage Penang's future water, the water company has identified everything. So whether we have the political will to implement it. We have identified Sungai Perak. That is the cheapest. Because in Malaysia, between 2,005 to 3,000 millimeter of rain water from the river is still the cheapest. Now, you know the pun or not? Engineers can do anything. Yeah? If Prophet Muhammad don't want to come, the engineers can shift the mountain to Prophet Muhammad. But the price vary lah kan. So the engineer can treat this raw water from Sungai Perak, the price will be less. But of course, if you don't want, then I do desalination, I do recycling, I do rainwater harvesting, then I charge you Singapore water price lah. Can one? So you choose which one. This is the solution. Okay? And if we use less water, we can delay this project. Okay? Let's say this year we are using more than 300. And if next year we can reduce it to 150, then we don't have to worry. But the problem to bring from 300 to 150 takes a long, long time. So the water company cannot just rely on that. So as a contingency plan, it still has to look for Perak water. Now, if Perak water got problem, the worst case scenario, you know what? Suddenly one day, the Perak MB tells the Penang CM, sorry lah, our engineers calculated by 2050, Sungai Perak also don't have enough for Perak lah. Macam mana? Can happen kan? Betul tak? They also want to jaga their state. Then we seriously have to look at this. Okay? Especially rainwater harvesting. This is a very, very funny situation. Madam Moderator, the rain harvesting has been adopted nationally in 2011. Okay, Any NGOs here on rainwater harvesting? Sometimes I ask them, they don't know. I say, what NGO are you? And they're talking about rainwater harvesting. It has been adopted nationally 2011. What does that mean? That means each state after that must implement in their bylaws. So they keep on talking, Tara Hujan about rainwater harvesting. They talk as if it's something new. So here it is total ignorance. Total ignorance. So I raise it up to the state. Hello, why isn't Penang implementing it? The law is already there. Since 2011, only 6 states adopted it. But not Penang. But Penang was represented there by the 2 councils. Now we are chasing the state legal advisor. So if anybody is talking about rainwater harvesting, you tell them, hey, why didn't we make it law? The law is already there. Don't talk as if nothing has been done. But that is the sad situation. Okay? So, water recycling, desalination, you all know the price will be more. Okay? The first solution is use less water. That's the best. But because we cannot rely when people are going to change, that's why we must have this standby on the supply side. What if people don't change? Because building these projects doesn't take a few months, it takes 7 years. Okay? Then only you can get the water from that project. So that's why I mentioned we are T-1. Now it's 2014. If we drag on, then we'll be caught. So the cheapest solution for Penang is for the people to use less water. Then only comes Sungai Perak. Then after that comes rainwater harvesting, water recycling and desalination. And some people ask me, hey, Jaseni, why are you not promoting rainwater harvesting in Penang? I said, first thing, the law is there, but the 2 local councils have not adopted it. In Malaysia, don't expect anybody to do anything if you don't have the law behind you, no. They will say, F off. Okay? Huh? You don't have the law. You got law upon, Penang got many good lawyers, also boleh cari jalan. So, rainwater harvesting is not possible in Penang because our water is too cheap. At the end of the day, unless that fella is really, really green, yeah, very, very green, got the money, he wants to do it, then he'll do it. Like Professor Chan Ngai Weng. Dia bukan tak ada duit, tapi dia very green, dia buatlah. Tapi you go and talk to another guy, how much you need to spend to do rainwater harvesting? So dia buka calculator, dia calculate. PBA water lagi cheap lah. Apa yang mau buat? Correct? At the end of the day, yeah, even you do recycled water, they're going to ask, PBA water berapa? You go to the factory, they want to do. But the question they ask, PBA water is how much? If I recycle, how much? Because right now, PBA's water is undervalued. It's not correct. Yeah? It must go up, at least full cost. But we have to do it slowly. Okay? So, that's the message I want to tell today. The best solution is to reduce less water, but we know all the obstacles. So we engineers have to get this project ready, just in case people don't want to use less water. Yeah? Okay? Then, if failing that, we will have to spend more. Yeah? Okay? And I showed you the relationship between price and water and consumption. It's a very good example with Singapore. I can also compare with Tokyo. My friend from Tokyo is there. When he came here, he said, "Ayo, your water price is so low lah." But we are trying to educate the people to use less water and to value water at its price. Okay, next. Habis? Thank you.